Hello and welcome to this video tutorial where I will be covering information related to APA citation and in-text citation uh, with regard to referring to articles that you use as reference in the writing that you submit. Um, and really, not just for this class, but this can apply to any type of paper that you have due or some other type of assignment. I have, as you may recall, posted information with regard to proper citation in APA. In modules 5 and 7, I provided information with regard to a video tutorial showing you how to set up properly citations in the APA format with regard to your reference list, which usually comes at the end of what you've written, and also with regard to in-text citation, which is the part of the citation that is abbreviated, but it is within the text. That's why it's called in-text citation. And the in-text citation allows the reader to know that that specific part of what you've written has either been taken from by way of paraphrasing or direct quote from another piece of source material. What I am going to do in this video is show you how to use Microsoft Word to, number one, set up a reference as as an APA citation for something that you've written. I'll show you how to generate a reference list, and I will show you how to insert an in-text citation in something that you've written. I've provided all this information again in prior modules 5 and 7, but I wanted to just really provide a focused tutorial on those two things, especially with regard to the writing assignment that you have coming up that is due on November 29th. This is something that is very important, not just for the writing assignment, but also for any time that you intend to write something as a Homeland Security analyst or professional that has to be presented as some type of document that you've used source material for. One last point before I begin the tutorial. You may remember in modules 5 and 7 that I provided extensive instructions on how you can receive tutorial assistance from the university if you are unfamiliar with how to write using proper APA citation. In that guidance, I showed you how to where to find these resources through Elizabeth City State University Student Services Office, how to find the tutor that you need, the online tutor that you need assistance, and how you can submit assignments that can be reviewed by your tutor. Just double check and triple check and make sure that your work comports with the proper APA citation format. And again, in the Homeland Security profession, as a federal employee, I cannot overstate how important it is to properly to provide proper attribution for your work if you are using sources that are external to your original writing. If you don't do this as a professional, I can say with direct knowledge in the Homeland and National Security professions in the U.S. federal government, that's not only a bad situation, but you can find yourself in uh, uh, a place where not just the quality of your work is being questioned, but it opens up other things such as action that can be taken against the person if it is shown that they have deliberately taken someone else's work and tried to pass it off as their own without providing proper attribution. And I just want to share that with you as a Homeland Security professional perspective, because I want to really emphasize why it is important to properly to provide proper attribution to the work that you write if you use source material. Okay. So having said all that, let me go ahead and just give you this very quick example. So look, um, there are many ways to provide citation for the written work that you provide, that you have to turn in or submit at the end of a tasking cycle, especially during the dissemination phase of the intelligence work cycle. Microsoft Word is a very good example that, and I'll use that here, is a very good example of how you manually can manually set up your reference lists and manually input in text citation. Yes, there are online uh, citation generators that are available. So a few that come to mind are Grammarly, Scribber, Citation Machine, MyBib, uh, and many, many others. But just make sure that whatever you choose, that you are addressing and covering the main point of citation, which is to provide proper attribution based on the particular style that you've chosen. So for our purposes in this tutorial, I'm just going to use the manual citation generation that is embedded within Microsoft Word. Everybody has, and I'm using this because this is everyone as a student or faculty or staff member with Elizabeth City State, through your Microsoft OneDrive access as a student, you have Microsoft Word access. So this is something that everybody has access to. Okay, so it's the common denominator that I will use to provide this instruction. So as you know, for your writing assignment, there are 5 areas of that you are addressing in the paper that you are submitting in a couple of weeks. Actually, in a few weeks, November 29th. One of the areas that you will address in your paper is sheltering in place. This is a paragraph that I've written that addresses that particular aspect of what you will be speaking to in your 5-page paper. So let's say you've written this paragraph, and I'll give you a chance to read that, and then I'll continue. Okay. So as you see, this paragraph speaks to sheltering in place. It speaks to an option for sheltering in place that let's just, you as the emergency management planner, and that's the hypothetical for that's a part of this project. You are the emergency management planner for Pasco County, Elizabeth City, and you've been asked to put together an emergency management plan. Sheltering in place is one of the aspects that you are addressing in that plan. And this is just one small paragraph that you've written in your paper, let's say, in your presentation. Specifically, you've found out that the Kermit E. White Graduate Center has been used in the past as a shelter for citizens during a storm. How do you know this? Well, you found an article that showed that the Kermit White Graduate Center was previously designated as a shelter spot. So this is what you've written, okay? And you want to give proper attribution to that article in this Word document, okay? So what I will do is go to the article and show you the article that I found that is applicable to what has been written, and then I will go back to the Word document and put in all the 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 aspects of APA that are required to generate for the to generate for the proper citation. So you see here, this is the article that was found, right? A couple of items of note. The article was written by, you see the author's name right there, Christy Stewart, and you see the date. Okay, those are going to be two important features that are required. You'll see in the in the citation generator. You have the date, September 12th, 2018. Okay, and then another standard piece that's required when you build citations is going to be the URL, right? And that's always going to be in the window that you see there, right? So we're going to just keep that in mind. Another thing that you will need is the title of the article, and so you see me highlighting that there, right? So you'll Hurricane Florence evacuation shelters predictions for WNC as of Wednesday, right? And in most instances, in addition to the author, the date of the publication, the URL, and the title, it will ask you for the website name. And in this case, it's just going to be ABC 13 News, okay, as you see there at the top. So that's the basic information that's required. And as you see me scroll down here, you see that it's listing different information from the article. We won't read the entire article, but just wanted to show you for instructional purposes that it shows, you see that, shelters, and that's what you're speaking to in the paragraph that you've written, right? So you found this article, you found that the Kermit White Center, and we'll go down and I'll show you where that's listed in terms of the shelters. You go down to Pasquotank County, which is here, and you see that the Kermit White Center has been designated as a place where people can come shelter during the hurricane that they were planning for in 2018. Now, you're simply paraphrasing from the article. You're basically pointing out information, in other words. You're not providing a direct quote, okay? So from this, you're going to just point out that the Kermit White Center is a place where people are going to be able to shelter in place. And you're going to point that out in your document. Okay. So what I will go to at this point is I will go back to I will go back to the actual document in a second. I will move the web page over. That's going to be something I'll just copy information from. And you see here, just a lot of screens open, but you see here back to the document. Okay. So, how do you build a reference to provide proper citation and attribution in Microsoft Word? Okay, that's the question. That's what we're doing right now. Okay. You see here, this is a regular Word document. This is the way it presents, from when it opens up. You see what we've typed, and you see the last sentence I just mentioned, as was mentioned in the article, that in 2018, the Carmody White Graduate Center was used as a shelter for citizens seeking refuge from Hurricane Florence. That's just a paraphrased statement of fact from the article, but because we pulled that information from the article, we have to provide proper attribution. Okay. So, how do we do that? With Microsoft Word open, you go to References across the top, click on References. Then you click on Manage Sources. And if you notice here, you see the style, APA, right? APA. You click on Manage Sources. And now you have a window open that's going to, from this window, you're going to begin to build the reference for that article. From this window, you click New because this is a new reference, a new source. And you see in the top window, there are all kinds of things that you can use as a reference, right? All types. You can even use miscellaneous if it's something that you just don't have a specific reference type for. But most of the types are books, journal article, which is a scholarly source, article in a periodical, a report of some kind, and one of the more commonly used is website or a document from website. So in this instance, we're going to use website, okay? And then you click on, you go down, your next thing is author. So you may recall from the article, you go back to the article, you see the name of the author from the article. I believe the name was Christy Stewart, right? So you see article by Christy Stewart. So this is going to be the author the author's name that you put in here. So last name Stewart, first name Christy. I'm typing it in. You see there. And then you just simply click add and then click OK. Next thing, name of web page. Name of web page is the same as title. Name of web page is the same as title. So you go back, you have the title of the article is Hurricane Florence, Evacuation, Shelters, and Predictions. Just highlight it and copy. Then go back to your Word document and you paste that in. Name of website. Okay. Remember, ABC 13 News. We said that before. Okay. So ABC 13. Okay. The year. You may recall the year from the article. The year 2018. The day, September 12th. So the year 2018, the month you see there, you type in September, the day, September 12th. Then the last item that's required is the URL, right? So you just go back, you highlight the URL. You already know how to do all this. It's just a different use for the same thing. You copy the URL, you go back to your Word document, you paste it in where it says URL, and then hit OK. Now you have created a reference that you have used in the document, right? So now you can simply close that. Okay. Now, the last step, and this brings us to the next to last step. This brings us to the in-text citation. Okay. And I want to make sure I go over this. See, delete that. I want to go back to the in-text citation because, again, anytime you speak to the source, you have to use in-text citation. Okay. Now, this is where we spoke to the information that came from the source, this last sentence. In-text citation always goes as the last part of the sentence that is used as paraphrased from your source article. So in this case, you go to that sentence where we talk about the Kermit White Graduate Center being used as a shelter. We took that information from the article. An in-text citation always uses last name of the author, comma, year of the article. That goes in parentheses. And then you put the period that comes at the end of the sentence. That is in-text citation. And again, that's necessary because you want to provide proper attribution and show the reader what part of what you have written has been paraphrased from the article. And when I've been telling you all throughout the semester that you're lacking in text citation, yes, you have listed the references, but the reader cannot tell in your work where you are referencing the information that you are paraphrasing from the article. Now, the last step, and this is important, is your reference list. When you're using APA, you have to list all the references that you've used in anything that you've written. Reference list goes at the end of your paper, okay? Goes at the end of your paper. In this case, it's just a paragraph. So I'm just going to show you how to generate the reference that we just created in Microsoft Word. But keep in mind that if for the purposes of the paper that you're turning in on the 29th, you have, let's say you have the 5-page paper written, you have the in-text citation throughout the paper showing the references referring to the articles that you used. But at the very end of the paper is where you provide the reference list of all the sources that you've used. The good thing about using Microsoft Word is that it generates automatically the reference list when you're ready to do that. But keep in mind that it goes at the very end, the reference list goes at the very end of the paper. Now, how do you generate the reference list? Well, let's say you toggle back to home because you've been doing some writing and everything throughout the paper, and now you're ready to generate the reference list. Well, you go back to references, okay, just like you were before. Make sure you're at the end of your document. In this case, again, it's just a paragraph. I'm just showing you how to generate the reference that we've created. You go to manage the box where you have all the manage sources, style, bibliography. Go down to bibliography. Left click on bibliography. Go down to references. Then you just simply left click on references, and then you see the references listed automatically that you have been using throughout the paper. And again, in this case, we only use one reference. So Microsoft Word is only going to generate just like it did, as you saw, one single reference. And the reference is already set up in proper APA format because that's what you've chosen. You see here at the top, that's what you've chosen as how you're setting everything up, okay, in APA. And so it generates automatically the references. Most of the time, it'll generate the references in alphabetical order based on the author's last name, and it'll provide the indentation that you see so that the author's name can be emphasized as the point where the alphabetized listing begins. And if you use 5 sources, 10 sources, 20 sources in a paper. All these references will be listed here at the end. Okay. So I hope this is a good, just very quick, just explanation about uh, a further explanation about what I've been mentioning throughout the semester with regard to using proper APA, American Psychological Association, the 7th edition, a citation methodology, and also in-text citation for anything that you've written. Keep in mind that this is the expectation that we've had throughout the course for graded discussions when called for, and also with regard to the extra credit uh, that uh, became active for graded discussions as of the week 8 guidance. And if you have any questions about that, or you missed that, go back and read the extra credit guidance I gave in week 8 if that's something you'd like to take advantage of for the remainder of the course. But again, for the upcoming writing assignment, I just wanted to do one more thing in addition to the guidance provided in Module 5 and in Module 7. I wanted to just take one more time to help those who still may have some questions about how to do citations, because this is super important, not just for this class, but as I mentioned before, for anything that you want to do in the Homeland Security or national security professions, and quite frankly, any profession where you have to write professionally, you have to provide proper attribution for your sources. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me by way of the contact information that's found in the syllabus. And good luck with the upcoming paper.